Hi, everybody. Thanks again for watching Rockin' Recovery. So, Paul, you've been on the show before.
Yep.
And for everybody that doesn't remember, Paul was here like a year ago?
Yeah, probably a year.
About a year ago. Can you remind us about a little bit about your recovery journey?
Yeah, so I was addicted to opiates for 5 years when I was 17 to about 22, and I was introduced to the Methadone program through my sister, and nothing would pretty much get me off opiates. I tried Suboxone before, I tried everything, and I tried the Methadone program, and as soon as I got in and I got treatment, I pretty much got off opiates right away, and everything was going good, and I was probably 4 months clean, and then something happened at Strong where I had gotten an altercation with my sister's husband, and they discharged me, which is they stopped giving me treatment and brought me down on my medicine until it was at 0 milligrams.
Wow.
And so after that, I was put back outside, and I wasn't in a rehab or anything. And I was trying my hardest to get back into a methadone program because I know how good it worked for me. And I was calling around, and a lot of places wouldn't take me because of what happened at Strong.
So wait a second. So you're on this methadone program, and it's working well for you, and all of a sudden you find out that you can't get your medicine anymore.
Correct.
And they wean you off it. And did you go back and relapse during this time? You didn't?
No.
Okay, good.
It wasn't easy, though.
Right?
Yeah.
Good. What did you do then? You know, you found out that, like, this isn't working. What did you do? How did you manage to be able to get through that?
So I just pretty much stuck to calling everyone, and I called Oasis. I did everything I can to figure out a way how to get into a rehab because I knew how good it worked for me. So finally I got a hold of Jacasa in Batavia. And at first they said the same thing. They were worried about me coming there because the altercation at Strong. So I went for about a week without methadone, and I was really sick, and I wasn't starting to give up, but I was kind of losing hope. And then finally Jacasa called me in Batavia, and they said they were willing to take me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's awesome, right?
I was so happy.
Yes. But I'm so happy that you were able to get through that. And, you know, my question is, like, why would a medical facility stop somebody's medication for a behavioral issue? It doesn't make any sense.
Right? Because that's the thing, too. It's not just about using. It's about mental health and, like, the full recovery. So if you have anger issues, if you anything, they should expect that out of people because it's behavioral, like you said. So, and drugs alter behavioral. So. Yeah,
and you know, if anybody's new in recovery, we go through some feelings. Right. We get a little excited.
And I knew I was wrong right away. I told them I was wrong, and I was willing to accept the consequences. But I didn't know it would be as far as taking away all of treatment, not just the medicine, but group. I didn't have a counselor anymore. Everything.
Yeah. Well, we were able to kind of get through that part, and then you started again at Jacasa.
Jacasa, yeah.
So tell us about that journey.
So right away when I got into Jacasa, it was kind of night and day. Like, they didn't have as much patience as Strong, and everyone was just really nice and willing to help me. So I got back on the methadone right away, and they start you off at 30 milligrams. And because I went without it for so long, that was like enough for me. So right away when I got it, I felt better, and I was already 100% positive and knew I was going to succeed again. And this time I was going to stay out of trouble. And so, yeah, now I've been there for 4 months, and no, sorry, I don't know why I said 4 months.
It's okay.
I've been there for pretty long now, and I've had no issues, and I'm on my right dose again. I love it there. I love my counselor. I've graduated group. So I'm pretty much succeeding there, and I love it.
I'm so happy to hear that. We're going to have to go to a break, but we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for staying with us on Rockin' Recovery. We're here with Paul, and he's sharing with us about his recovery journey. Now, I know you went to Jacasa for methadone.
Correct.
And you said you attended groups there. Can you tell us a little bit about what that process was like and what helped?
Yep. So when you first start there, you go to group 3 times a week, and it's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. and you're in a group with at least 5 to 10 people, and pretty much everyone shares their stories, and your counselor or anyone that's in the group could give you advice, and it's pretty much just to support each other, and you could be honest there. You can talk about whatever you want. Nothing's held against you. So that is demanded of you until you graduate it, and so you go 3 times a week, and you go for 8 weeks at first, and then after the first 8 weeks, you only have to go to group twice a week, and then it's 8 weeks again until it's to once a week, and then it's 8 weeks again, and eventually you graduate it.
So what do you think about the groups? Was it helpful at all, or was it a punishment? I mean, how did you approach that?
It's really helpful. I mean, it depends. Every person's different. Some people don't like talking in big groups, but you could actually bring that to your counselor too, and they'll work with you. So maybe if you don't like talking in big groups, maybe they'll schedule more one-on-ones with you, and you don't have to talk in groups too. I mean, you can just listen, but they're really cool and they'll work with you there.
Nice. So you felt like you were heard, like when you talked, or your needs were met.
Yeah, not only that, but I'm a person who likes it, so even now that I graduated group, they have one on Friday that's not mandatory. Anyone could just go, just if they want to be there or need the extra support or want to talk about anything, so I like going to that sometimes too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. So, in the beginning, you start and they give you like a daily dose,
correct?
Right? Monday through Saturday, and then Saturday you get Sundays?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
They give you, when you go Saturday, they give you a little bottle of however many milligrams you're on for Sunday, and then you have to have a take-home box for it. You can't just put it in your pocket and leave. You have to have a lock box for it, and then you go home, and then you'll take that Sunday because you actually don't go to the facility on Sunday. But then Monday when you come back, you have to bring that bottle back, or they won't give you your Monday dose.
Oh, okay.
So then you have to bring the bottle back, and then once you give it back, it's just pretty much the same thing again. You go Monday through Saturday, and you have to take it in front of them. So Sunday's really the only day you get to go home with it.
Okay. Now, when you went home with it, when you brought it home Saturday, was there any temptation for you to sell it, use it, whatever?
No, and that's the thing. It's different per patient. So once you're there for a while, they drug test you at least every 2 weeks to once a month. And if you don't use, then you could eventually get something called take-homes, which means you don't have to go Monday through Saturday. You could go maybe Monday through Friday, and you get an extra day off. And then pretty much the more they trust you, the more leniency you get. And so eventually you could even get up to 3 or 4 take-homes, and you'll have to go a couple times a week. But like I said, you have to bring the bottles back. It's different per every person. If they didn't graduate group or if they're using, they won't give you take-homes. And I never had a temptation or anything to use it extra. I know because how good it works for me, though. So, like, I wouldn't want to mess up my Sunday's dose if I took it Saturday. Because if I took it Saturday, if I wanted extra for whatever reason, then Sunday I'd be sick.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to me, really. But people could do that, but I think they do a pretty good job with how they trust you. Like, they make you earn their trust there.
I've known you for a while now. And the thing I love about you is your quest for recovery and your passion to get it, and you've got like a heart that I just love, And I'm very proud of you, by the way. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to see you. In the beginning, when you had to go every single day, did you feel like discouraging for you that you had to do that, or did you understand the process? Do you think it was helpful at all?
I think it was very helpful, and I think at first it's not discouraging, it's more like you don't know what's coming. Maybe you might be scared because you've never been in a program, or maybe you've been in a Suboxone program, so you might not be used to it or know it's coming. But I wasn't necessarily discouraged. I think it's what I needed to get up every day early, to get out of the house, to go somewhere where people care about me and are treating me. So I think it was good for me. But like I said, you might be a little nervous just because it's a new program, but I think everybody that I know personally there loves it there. Sometimes I gotta tell people to go home because how people like hanging out there, and not in a bad way though. Just everyone likes each other, and we're very supportive there.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, so I've heard people say, because methadone is a medicine. right? And people question, well, why isn't that used like any other medicine? Why don't you just give the person a 30-day supply?
Well, like I said, eventually you could earn your way up to take-homes during trust. But I think that would just be bad to do, especially for addicts first getting clean, if they just gave them a whole bunch. Because like you said, they could possibly sell it. They could take what they're not supposed to take. And it is, if you can take too much of it and overdose. So that's first of all, you don't want to do that. And they do what are they called? GK... I forget what they're called.
EKG?
Yeah, they do EKGs. They do EKGs where they monitor your heart and they make sure the methadone's not affecting your body in any bad way. So you really don't want to take too much, but that's the main reason they don't just give you a big supply like that and pretty much tell you to just go with it, because they monitor you every step of the way. You need to return every bottle. You get EKGs. So I like the way they do it, just because one, I think part of recovery is being held responsible. So it's a part of responsibility to bring back the bottles and know you're going to take your medicine the right way and show up for group and everything.
Did you take it as like a safeguard then, that you had to go every single day? And did you appreciate the support?
I appreciated the support a lot, and honestly, I looked forward to going. I would wake up mornings and look forward to going just because I knew it was something to do. It wasn't boring by any means. I knew I was going to get my medicine and feel good. So it's motivating to me.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, we have to go to another break, but we will be back. Hi, everybody. So we've been talking to Paul about the program that he's in, the Methadone program. And can you tell us how the coronavirus has affected you getting your medication?
Yeah, so I think they've done a pretty good job with it overall. So now when we go there, as soon as we pull into the parking lot, there's a security guard who directs you where to park. And there'll be a line of cars from the people who are there before. So you'll park in a line, and then they only let 3 people out of their cars at once. And they come up to the sidewalk, and they have to be 6 feet apart from each other. And then they wait in line, and there's actually an RV outside of the program. No one's allowed into the building anymore. And then one person goes up to the RV at a time, and then that's where they get their medicine now. And then once those 3 people are done getting their medicine, they'll send the next person out of the car. And I think it's done a good job of keeping everyone separate and not big crowds or anything, and they're not letting anyone into the buildings. And they're actually, if you're from Monroe County and then people are from a different county, they're actually making 2 separate lines for each county.
Okay. Yeah, because different areas are affected differently.
Yeah,
right?
And some might have more cases than the other.
Yeah, okay. So, how is that affecting like the population that you're in? You said you were going to groups and stuff, so you must know like some other people that are involved.
Right.
Have you found that there's a lot of people that's dropped off because of the changes?
I haven't found anyone who's dropped off. I've heard that some people are struggling because they did enjoy going to groups and they like the person-to-person interaction, but they are doing one-on-one appointments over the phones, so you could call your counselor at any time. You could call your sponsor at any time. And like I said, you still have to go there for the most part every day, so you still see your counselors, you still see doctors. And as far as people dropping off, I think the people, in a way, it's like a break to them. Like, the people who haven't graduated group yet might take it as like, maybe I don't have to go to group for a couple weeks and it won't be held against me. And if I do need to talk to someone, I could always pick up the phone. So I think you just need to look at it in a positive way, because it's something the whole world's dealing with, and it's new to everyone.
Right. You know, you have so much positivity. That's amazing. I'm so happy, and I love your outlook. And I wish I had 100 more people that I could surround myself with just like you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're doing good then. Now, I know I met your mom before, who I love, and she's awesome. How is she dealing with, like, your recovery and with the changes? Does it make her nervous? Does she trust you, or what are you finding?
I think we're at the point, just because I'm so far along in my recovery, that she trusts me now. And I'm always, like, as soon as I get home, I'm always willing to share with her. So as soon as I get home, I'm always telling her what's going on at Jacasa. and what's different, or I told her about the RV, and I think that because I keep her so involved, she trusts me a lot. And one thing they're actually doing at Jocasta too is they're giving me take-homes now. And I used to never get take-homes, but because of COVID-19, they want as less people at the faculty as possible. So they actually gave me 3 take-homes, and I used to have to go Monday through Saturday, and now I only have to go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And what they do is when I go Monday, they give me a take-home for Tuesday. When I go Wednesday, they give me a take-home for Thursday. And when I go Friday, they give me take-homes for the weekend.
Okay.
Now, they're not doing this with everyone. It's patient-based, how much they trust you. But if you haven't used in a while, they are trying to give people take-homes just to keep as less people at the place as possible because of COVID-19.
Do you think that them relaxing the rules like that is a positive thing, or do you think it's going to have a negative impact overall?
I think it could go both ways because, like I said, it's more patient-based, so I think it's good that they trust you, but I think the biggest picture is that the COVID-19 is the problem, so whatever keeps people from getting sick right now is for the best. But I could see there being issues with, like, for example, I'm getting take-homes now. When it ends, I don't know if they're still going to give me them or not. I won't personally have a problem with that, but I could see if other people get upset, like, now we have to go 6 days a week again. But I think there's just, you got to talk to your counselor, and since it's patient-based and they do trust some people and they are giving you take-homes, maybe after the COVID-19 does end, they'll still trust you and you could talk to them and still get them. But I think that's kind of an opinion-based thing and outlook you have to look at it as, but I think it's for the best because however we can stop spreading COVID-19 and get people treatment is the most important.
So when they evaluated you, did you feel like they took the time to really understand if you were ready or not, or was it pretty much, did you feel like kind of like just a number?
Because I came from strong, I think they knew I was ready, and like I said, I had a hard time getting in a place. And I was so consistent with picking up the phone, pretty much begging to get in, that I think they knew how serious I was.
Okay. So it was individualized, you feel? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we're going to go to a break, but we'll be back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for staying with us on Rockin' Recovery. So, Paul, I want to know what you're doing now for support now that, you can't go in and meet with your counselor. Like, what does recovery look like for you today?
So what they're doing is everything over the phone right now. And my counselor will actually call me at least every other day. And I could call her whenever I want, and they always answer. Sometimes it's hard to get off the phone with them, and because they ask you so much questions, but they just want to be there for you. They'll ask me if anyone in my family's dealing with COVID, if I feel like relapsing because of the situation. They'll talk about my dose, my sleep schedule, pretty much everything they'll go over on the phone just because they can't be there in person. Mm-hmm. So they kind of know how serious that is, so they'll keep you on the phone for a while. You could call them anytime you want, and they've just been really supportive overall.
Do you feel that if you were having an issue, you'd be able to talk openly with your counselor?
Oh, right away, yeah. And everything's confidential, and it's nothing but support, and they'll sit on the phone with you until you guys figure it out, and I really like it.
You know what? It's almost too good to be true, Paul.
Yeah. That's what I thought when my sister first introduced me to the program. That's what I thought, and then I got in, and I flew with it.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to prove that if somebody really wants recovery, they can find it.
That's kind of what I tell everyone. It's like sometimes friends I know, I'll try to get them in it, and they might give me a little excuse or something, and I'll tell them that it's an excuse, and sometimes they'll say it's something else, but you just have to want to do it, and eventually things get better.
Yeah, and I know with your recovery journey, you faced a lot of obstacles in the beginning.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
It was not easy, but you stayed the course, and look at you now.
I know. So there was plenty of times I could have gave up and walked away, and I was just so sick of it, though, and the little time I knew I had in the Methadone program, how much it worked, I knew it was better to be there than where I was. So.
Mm-hmm. About his journey into recovery, somebody who was going from active drug use and at a point of despair, who finally found something that worked, the methadone program, which, is a blessing, right? And at some point, there was a problem. You were dismissed from the program, and that's when we came into contact.
Correct.
Because your mom called me, and she was really worked up. And I was on the phone with her for quite a while, and when she was telling me the story of what happened, I remember thinking I got to hear it from you because I wanted to get your perspective on it and what really happened. Because lots of times parents maybe get it a little bit wrong, maybe it didn't happen quite that way, but she had it right on the money.
Yeah.
I could say that. So after I talked to you guys, I was a little bit confused on what the answer was. I had never heard this problem before, and I've heard them all. I've heard everything you could possibly imagine, but this was a new one for me. Somebody who was being kicked off methadone who wanted to stay on. And I thought, don't worry, hang in there. We'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll fix it. I don't know how, but we will.
Right.
Yeah. And part of being in a very close-knit recovery community like Rochester is that you get to know people. I know people at treatment programs. I know people at all kinds of organizations, not-for-profit and for-profit, that want to help. We want to see you stay clean. So, according to my notes, you went to Strong Recovery and began your program there in November of
Correct.
2018.
Yep.
Okay. At the end of February, I was told that you were dismissed from the program.
Yeah,
Okay.
they discharged me.
They discharged you?
Yeah.
Okay. And after that, you started to get weaned off of methadone immediately.
Yep, they brought me down on 5 milligrams a day till I was at 0, and then I wasn't allowed to go there anymore for my medicine or for group or to meet with my counselor or anything.
Okay. And then you appealed,
Correct.
and the appeal was denied. Is that right?
Yeah, the appeal was to try to fight their decision to kick me out of the program, and they ended up denying it, so everything stayed the same pretty much, and they continued weaning me off.
Okay. So during this time when you're getting weaned off this medicine, and I understand it was over 30 days from the time that you had the fight until the time you were introduced to Jacasa, is that correct?
Correct.
So they weaned you off. Were you ever without any methadone at all?
Yes, I went about probably a good 3 or 4 days without any medicine. And then finally Jacasa called me and told me about the behavioral contract I could sign. But Strong didn't do anything to get me into a program before I was at 0. And no one could really help us other than you and a couple other contacts. But it took a while, and I ended up going a couple days without it, which was my biggest fear. Because I know I was wrong. I know it was a mistake and I shouldn't have gotten a fight, but I didn't think it was going to kind of take away my whole recovery from me.
Right, right. I've been to many meetings and stuff where I've heard medical professionals say that methadone is the gold standard, and a lot of people cannot get clean without methadone. In hearing that and hearing that you were dismissed from the program for a fight, how old are you?
24.
24 years old, dismissed from the program for a fight. My thought is they issued you a death sentence because you got in a fight with somebody in their parking lot.